If you grow food, such as vegetables and plants, then you already know what soil looks like on a superficial level. But what does it really look like up close and personal? Well, join me in this video as I do an extreme, upfront, deep dive into the wonderful world of soil. Have you ever wondered what's happening in your soil? What does it look like if you could dive into it and peer deep inside of your soil? Well, today I'm going to do the deep dive and look at some soil from a friend's no-dig plot that he's putting together under my microscope. Stay tuned till later in the video. You might be surprised actually at what we find. But before I start, please do like this video and consider subscribing to the channel for more content like this as I create it. It really does help. Also, I would love to get your feedback, your thoughts, your questions and your views. You can either pop them in the comments section underneath the video or reach out on the email, which I'll include in the channel description and in the video description as well. Let's get straight into it. So I'm going to be using this binocular light microscope. It has a movable stage, a number of objectives here. I'll probably be doing most of what I'm doing today at around 100 or perhaps even 200 times. So let's move that ready. The interesting thing about this is it's bottom lit. So that's to say the light shines up from the bottom through the stage and it can illuminate the slide with our sample on it. The binocular refers to the eyepieces. We obviously have two eyes. It just makes it a little bit easier on the eye when you're peering at a sample. When I've got this set up, I will put my camera on it so you can have a look as well. There's a few other items that we will need as well. I've kind of got these here, some cover slips, some glass slides. We've got a pipette to plate a sample out on and a test tube. I kind of put all of these onto my sheet of kitchen roll. I'll talk about these perhaps another time. If you guys want to let me know if you'd find it useful to do another video on actually how to configure a microscope and set up a sample yourself for analysis, let me know in the comments below. So the last item that we need is our sample itself. This is a sample from my friend's garden. He actually lives in Scotland, so this has travelled about as far as it possibly could, 500-600 miles down south. As I mentioned in the introduction, he is establishing a no-dig vegetable patch, and his idea is he would like to become totally self-sufficient. So generally, his process for setting this up has been laying sheets of cardboard down. That kills off the grass underneath it, traps a layer of moisture in, and then he can start to plant directly into that as he's kind of preparing his crops. He hasn't used any compost yet on his soil, although he is starting to make his compost at the moment, so I'm sure that will get added to. We can see it's quite a nice, looks quite a nice friable soil, so it should be fairly easy to prepare. What I'll do now is I will set up a quick time lapse just to show the process of getting a sample itself ready before I put it under the microscope. So other than a complete disaster with the cover slips spilling everywhere as you just saw, that went pretty well. A couple of points to note. You saw I used the back of a teaspoon as kind of a metal spatula. It just helps pick out small segments of soil from the sample. Also, that was normal tap water that I used as well. No need for any special waters for the type of work that we're doing today. So I've just put the slide under the microscope on the stage. Again, I'll do a bit more perhaps in another video as to how to prepare the sample and put it on a stage, but if that's something you'd like, let me know, reach out in the comments below. So now we're set up, let's have a look under the microscope and see what we can see. So we're going to start off by looking at 100 times magnification, and as we can see through here, there are lots of particles. This large kind of blob in the centre, has a slight brownish hue to it. That is in fact organic matter. After looking at soil for a while, you get familiar with what each of the parts are. The smaller fragments, kind of the sharper particles that you see scattered throughout, those are parts of the soil aggregates, and I've talked in another video about the structure of soil and it being made of sand, silt and clay. I'll leave a link or a clickable kind of icon later in the video so that you can have a look at that. And there's the edge of the slide. We'll just have a short scan through, see if there's anything of interest. We'll kind of work through here. You'll notice that when I prepared the sample, I didn't put loads of soil in. I kind of roughly put around 10 parts water to 1 part soil. That is to get a sufficient dilution so that you can actually see what's happening kind of when you're looking at it through the microscope. If you are, we'll just focus here, if you have too much soil, then unfortunately you end up with far too many particles and it becomes very complex to look at things. I'm just going to stop and then we'll switch over to slightly higher magnification. So this is pretty cool. I've now moved in and focused it on 200 times magnification. Yeah, this is pretty cool because we can see in the middle, and I just caught it out the corner of my eye at 100 times, you can see that there is a piece of fungi in the middle. Only a baby piece, but that's great news for my friend. Having a balanced soil with lots of bacteria and fungi is good, so hopefully he's got quite a bit more of this. But we're not doing a full assessment, we're just going to kind of see what we can see. And the great thing about the setup I've got here with the camera on my phone is that I can also do another zoom in here and we can see even closer. And in fact, for this fungi strand, this hyphae, we can even see the cellular division. There's kind of a black line around halfway along and you can see how it is growing through cellular growth rather than just cellular division, which is pretty cool. Here's another great shot of some organic matter. I've kind of done a super zoom in. You can see all the different kind of particles and the different colour browns that it's made up of. Really cool, and if you're looking to assess or determine how much soil life you've got, looking or focusing in on the soil organic matter is a great kind of starting point to do that, as most of the microbes tend to congregate around the food stuff. So yeah, look at organic matter first if you're trying to hunt out microbes in your soil. Now this is pretty cool. I'm just going to focus the camera. There we go. If you look carefully, you can see some particles are kind of moving with slight vibration. That is bacteria. I might put this on a time lapse and it might make it a little bit more obvious. And you can see as the time lapse is running, hopefully some of the little particles are wiggling about. Yeah, as your eyes become accustomed, it's a little bit easier to see. Yeah, here's a great shot of some more fungi, like a little straight kind of straw. And actually, as I scroll through this, you can kind of see this section of the slide is like a little minefield. It's absolutely littered with particles of soil. There's another bit of fungi here. So this really is great news for my friend. We're just kind of doing a qualitative assessment. We're not doing a detailed analysis or anything. If I wanted to do that, I would send that or take it into my laboratory, but just kind of a quick scroll through. It's nice just to have a look to see what is actually in here. There's the edge of the slide. Now, it's great just scrolling through a sample I find it really therapeutic. Just peering into other worlds, basically. Yeah, very relaxing, just super interesting. Wow, this is really cool. If you look closely, you can see some slightly larger kind of grains they look like, and I've zoomed in actually even more than I said. I've gone up to 400 times here, but if you see the black specks in the middle are actually flagellates. So they're a type of protozoa which are swimming around in the solution in the soil, and I've talked before about how important soil moisture is. They move through the soil solution, swimming around, eating lots and lots of bacteria every day. They're called flagellates because, albeit you can't see on here, they have a long flagella which spits out and whips and propels them along, and it also drags food into their mouths. Note they are kind of congregating around the organic matter, like I've said before, and the longer you actually look at this, the more of them you can start to see. That's really cool. So in addition to the fungi that we've seen, and there's quite a lot in this actually, I haven't shown all the instances of fungi that I found in the video, but in amongst the fungi there are plenty of bacteria and protozoa as well. Now that's a good indication of a pretty healthy soil. But as I've said before, this is just a qualitative assessment. To do a quantitative assessment, I'd need to put this into the laboratory where different procedures would be used to analyse the amounts of bacteria, fungi, protozoa, nematodes, things like that. But for a quick scan, this has just been really good fun. Really cool soil, looks like there's lots going on and plenty to talk to my friend about when I see him next. So there you have it everyone, soil on an extreme close-up scale. I hope you enjoyed it. Looking at soils, especially natural soils, is really good fun because they tend to have loads of things happening within them. So maybe in the future I'll do another video like this. If you've got any questions or comments for me, please put them in the comments below, or as I said before, email me, link in description. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to know what challenges you're facing, what your questions are, and any issues that I can help with. So until the next time, I'll see you soon.